It's a whole bunch of things that happened at the same time. So I bought the gallery, and one of the artists in the gallery was Ross Merrill, who was chief of conservation at the National Gallery of Art. He was pretty well known in the art world, but he was also a landscape painter, and we were in the same group, which was Washington Society of Landscape Painters. So Ross said to me, "Nancy, why don't you get a plein air event started in Easton?" And this was like, we bought the gallery in July. And apparently he and the previous owner, Patricia Spitaleri, had talked to a couple of people in town about it, but everybody was kind of like, huh? And it just so happened that I went to the Carmel plein air event in May, just before we bought the gallery. So I experienced it, and I loved the event. I thought it was just a wonderful, wonderful way to see artists at work, and everybody was so excited. And that event had been going on for probably 15 years by then. They started out in California, and there were 3 major ones in California when we started. So it wasn't really well known on the East Coast. When I went to talk to Al Bond, he was ready to hear about it because he'd already been approached about it, but he wasn't real sure. And then I came to him and said, "Look, I've been to one. I know how they work." And with Ross's help, I wrote a proposal and pitched it to Al, and Al took it and called a meeting of gallery owners and leading artists and business owners. So there was a lot of opposition at first, but when we put it together, we tried very hard to make sure that the town and the local artists were involved. And so we set it up that there would always be venues for the local artists, as well as the visiting artists who would be coming in to do the plein air event. Yeah. And so far it's worked out really, really well. I think at the time we approached the town, this fellow named Eric Rhoads, who was a publisher, was just starting the magazine called Plein Air Magazine. And because of that, I mean, we all had the sense that something big was happening and we better get on board. And so that all happened in 2004. But Eric Rhoads is he's a visionary, and he's also a marketer, and he loves representational painting and plein air painting. He's a plein air painter himself. So he has done a lot to spread the movement all over the country and the world, really. And the other thing is, Easton is a unique town. It's a sophisticated small town. You know, there are lots of small towns that try to put these events on, and they don't have the success that Easton has, because we have a major central hotel and the accredited art museum and the theater, and it's just set up perfectly for an event like this. In a way, plein air is called the new golf. You know, you have the boomers that are retiring, that have leisure time, they have extra money, and rather than taking up golf or something like that, a lot of them are taking up painting and finding second careers. So there's that, which has led to the birth of so many workshops, which are wildly popular all over the country. In some ways, I think it's kind of like what happened with an Impressionism. You know, Impressionism was very, very popular with the people, the public. And, it was, scoffed at by the academics and the institutions, the art institutions of that time, as plein air has been. But I think now people are realizing that these are very skillful artists, and it's here. You know, it's an art movement. Will it last 50 more years? Oh, absolutely. And I mean, the fact that the head of the Metropolitan Museum of Art is involved in our judging. He was the juror this year and will be the judge next year, I guess. Says a lot. And actually out in California they had a panel discussion and they were talking about the future of plein air. And one of the points was that museums are taking note. They're looking now. So, and I think, you know, our own museum is creating a collection of plein air work, and I think that's significant. It's international. I mean, I just came back from judging a plein air competition in Nova Scotia. They're in their 3rd year now, and I have been involved in one in Curacao, you know, a little island off the coast of Venezuela. So, yeah, it is a bigger movement.
It must feel really good, right?
It does. I mean, overall it does. Along the way, I've had a feeling I opened a Pandora's box. You know, there are economic repercussions to different art businesses. And it's, you know, because it used to be the galleries were the only place people bought, that and the occasional charity events. But now they, you know, they buy more from the plein air events and the big shows and online, and you know, so it's all, you know, it's all part of the challenge for art dealers these days. And being a gallery owner myself, I saw what happened. But it's when you think of all the good that has come out of it, and both, you know, the benefit to the artist, because it has given a career path for artists. Things change like this, you really do have to take the long view and know that there'll be change, but you know, I guess embrace it and figure out how to work with it.